Hi guys, today I will be sharing my version of Inipit with caramel pastry cream. For the ingredients we need, this is 38 ml of water, 3/4 cups of sugar, and this is 50 ml of hot water. So we're gonna make the caramel first. So we're gonna combine the sugar and then the 38 ml of water. We just gonna make sure that the sugar is well submerged with the water, and then we're gonna move on to the stove with the heat setting medium to low heat. Now we're just gonna let this boil without stirring. And once you see that the sugar is starting to caramelize, you can start swirling the pan just like this. And this is now getting close to being ready. Just keep in mind that you only have one chance in making the caramel. Once it gets too dark, it's gonna get bitter, or the sugar is burned. So at this point, I'm putting the hot water in, and then turn off the heat. And this is our caramel. We're gonna transfer this into a bowl and let it cool down completely. We need 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 30 grams of butter, 2 tablespoons of corn flour or cornstarch, 4 egg yolks, 3/4 cup of fresh milk, half a cup of heavy cream or whipping cream, and the syrup or the caramel that we made before. So the first step is to combine the cream and the milk. We're just gonna scald this in a stove using low heat. So while the cream and the fresh milk is heating up, we're gonna move on to this. So I'm combining the caramel syrup that we made and the egg yolks. Just make sure that the caramel has cooled down completely. Make sure to get all the caramel. And now using a whisk, we're gonna combine the ingredients together until they are well combined. So now that it is well combined, we're gonna add the 2 tablespoons of corn flour or cornstarch. Whisk again till it is well combined, and then stop. And we're gonna check and see if the milk is starting to boil on the side. So this is what we're after. We're gonna turn off the heat now. And now we're gonna add the scalded milk into the egg yolk caramel mixture. A little at a time. Keep on whisking so that the egg will not curdle, or the egg yolks will not curdle. I also make it a point to put a little bit of the warm milk into the glass container that we put the caramel in, so we get most of the caramel. And now we're just gonna transfer this back into the pot, and then we're gonna move on to the stove again for this to continue cooking and for this to thicken up. And I cook this in the stove again using low to medium heat. So while you're in the stove, continuously mix this. You have to keep on stirring until the mixture thickens up. The custard will slowly thicken up, so you have to whisk vigorously, just like this. Once it thickens up, you can turn off the heat and start adding the butter. Once the butter is all melted, we will transfer this in a bowl. And then we're gonna cover the top with cling wrap just to prevent the custard to form a skin on top. And then we will put this in the fridge while we move on to the next step. So 4 weeks ago, I showed you how to make the pianono. So that's the same recipe that we're gonna use. Only this time, we're gonna do the sponge cake twice. So if you have a smaller oven like I do one batch at a time. So make the sponge cake batter and then bake it before once it is baked, then make another batch of the sponge cake, because sponge cake batter doesn't sit well if you're not baking it. The air from the meringue will deflate. So I will put the link below on where you can find the pianono recipe. So I have baked the 2 sponge cake, and then I've got sugar here. I've got room temperature butter that I mix well so it's really soft and spreadable. I also got my caramel custard filling ready. So now we're gonna assemble the inipit. So when you pull the custard, caramel custard from the fridge, you need to mix it because it's quite stiff. This is what we need for the inipit. So when you cut the cakes, the filling doesn't ooze out. It needs to be really thick. So now we'll just spread the caramel custard on top of one of the sponge cake. Just spread it evenly. And now we're gonna put the other part of the sponge cake on top. And then we're just gonna flip it upside down now to remove the parchment paper on the other side of the sponge cake. And now we're ready to cut the inipit. So it's up to you how big or how little you want your inipit to be. You can use a ruler if you want to so they're equal. I'm just winging it. Each time you cut, make sure that you wipe your knife so you make clean cut. And do it in one swift move. And now I'm gonna spread butter on top. Before we cut this, one final cut, and we're just gonna roll the top part of the inipit into the sugar, just like so. We'll set this aside for a while we move on to the other inipit. And now, we're just gonna cut the inipit into smaller bite-sized pieces now. So I'm wiping the knife each time I make a cut. And then we will transfer this into a cake platter. To make them equal in size, I just use one cut inipit as a guide. And this is the finished product. I hope you give this a try. I can guarantee that you will not regret making this. This is so good. And just a close-up look on what the inipit looks like. It's so airy and soft. Sweetness is perfect. You can make other filling as well. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye!